Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in. We have the speakers ready. They are just doing some checks. So we should be starting in the next couple of minutes. Thank you so much. It should be next 2 minutes. We should be starting in the next 2 minutes. I think we have all our guests here. Just Rashida ma'am, should we start?
Yes, please. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. And just good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on a Thursday night. It's wonderful to have you all back. It's been some time. We have not done this Thursday night talks. So it's wonderful to have you all here. With that said, we will move straight into our program for today. And before we move forward, I want to take a moment to thank all our annual sponsors who are committed in fostering entrepreneurship by the names Brightcom Group, Confluence Data Centers, Oxen University, Athena Global, Dallas Venture Capital, Fuji Inc., Cooper Labs, Cloistro, LMB Group, StratCap Advisory, EHAM, eZone, FinVista, and Jupiter. Thank you all the sponsors who has been with us and uh, helped us scale up the programs going forward with no much delays. Few guidelines to all our participants. You cannot access your cameras and microphones throughout the session. Once we open the Q&A round, we will be opening the microphones for you to use them. And you may use the chat option to ask your questions to the speakers and or to the moderator. And if you have any trouble with the audio, maybe it should be the internet connection. If not, please try to reach out to the host. Uh, it's a wonderful topic to speak upon, and we have fantastic panelists and one keynote speaker. With that said, I will hand it over to Rashida ma'am to take it over from here. Rashida ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so very much, Vamshi, and a warm welcome to our guest, Sandip Patnaik, as well as Abhijit Banerjee. Thank you so much for your time to take this out and on a very, very important topic, and which is really the key topic, and Hyderabad as well is booming. Right now, we are reading newspaper headlines that the reality sector is really at its high in Telangana today. So I think this is a very apt topic that, which would, I'm sure all our charter members would be very much interested. And who better person to tell us all about it than the MD of JLL itself, the largest in the reality sector. So thank you so much, Sandip, and no better person to, actually lead the conversation as Abhijit Banerjee as a moderator who, obviously has also a lot of, experience and as well as the market analysis about the real estate sector. So quickly, without much ado, I would like to introduce Abhijit Banerjee, who will be in conversation with Sandip. And so Abhijit is the co-founder and managing partner of StratCap Corporate Advisories LLP. StratCap Advisors is a mid-market focused boutique investment banking and multi-client family office focusing on real estate. So therefore, I think he's the most apt person, and I'm sure it will be a very interesting conversation. Consumer, healthcare, and life sciences segments. He has over 20 years of experience across diverse sectors and geographies, and he has served on the boards of very eminent companies also. And he's been a chief strategy and financial officer and has crafted many successful fundraisers, strategic M&As and exits also. So Abhijit and team have raised almost 4.5 thousand crores as funding for real estate companies in the last 4 years. I think that's amazing. And the wealth management arm has an INR of 3.7 thousand crores asset under advisory. So Abhijit has been recognized as among the top 100, retail minds by Asia Retail Congress in 2018. And Abhijit is a frequent speaker in many academic and industry forums in India and abroad. So this is, thank you so much, Abhijit. And I now hand it over to you for a very interesting and informative, conversation on retail, especially when we are talking about the government order and, all what is currently happening in the market and what we expect it to be in the future. Thank you so much. And over to you, Abhijit. Thank you.
Thanks, Rashida, for the warm introduction. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Thursday Night Talks. In the last 7 years, Hyderabad has transformed from being an IT and pharma hub to an emerging healthcare, education, warehousing, data center, and defense manufacturing hub. StratCap's research throws some interesting yet staggering numbers. In FY21, Hyderabad attracted 687 million institutional investor monies, higher than all other cities in India. In the residential segment, Hyderabad has delivered close to 20 million square feet between 2017 and 21. Currently, 100 million square feet is being developed at various stages. This is almost 5x. In the commercial segment, Hyderabad has added 45 million square feet till 2017. And between 2017 to 2024, we are adding at least 100 million square feet of just grade A commercial office spaces. What is driving this unprecedented boom? Is it proactive governance? Is it infrastructure? Is it quality talent? And most importantly, is this momentum sustainable? To know more about the future of Hyderabad's real estate, I have with me my good friend, Sandip Patnaik. Sandip needs no introduction to the Thai ecosystem. Nevertheless, as a moderator, I must do my job. Sandip is the managing director and board member at JLL India. He manages a team of 1,600 people and has been among the youngest MDs in JLL. He is known for his marquee deals, such as the Novartis K. Raheja deal and the Novartis Salarpuria 1 million square feet Knowledge City deal. He has created a pivotal role for JLL in grade A commercial office space leasing and land facilitation in Hyderabad. Welcome, Sandip.
Thank you, Abhijit, for your kind words, and thank you, Thai, Hyderabad, for giving me this opportunity. And I think in last 1.5 years, this is the second time I'm doing a Thai talk. So ever grateful to the Thai ecosystem.
So Sandip, we will follow a format wherein I believe you have a presentation. You can start with that, and then we will have a question and answer session.
Sure. So I will try to sort of spend less time on the presentation, because what happens is we get to learn in forums like this more when there is Q&A session. So and less from the presentations, because presentation is full of data and stats. So I'll try to wrap up the presentation in 10-15 minutes, and then would love to take questions from Abhijit, my friend, the moderator, as well as from the audience. So I was asked by Thai to cover the following points. One is the impact of Geo 111. As you know, this is the hottest topic going around for the last couple of weeks. A very interesting topic. And what are the commercial office space absorption trends, supply in residential spaces, emerging asset class, the impact of regulation, FSI, RERA, new funding trends, and emerging locations on investment. While whatever I'm going to talk, I'm not going to talk anything rocket science, but what is little different is how I look at as an sort of expertise in real estate, how I look at things little differently is what my perspective will be. Not necessary that my perspective will be agreed by most of the audience, but if anyone differs, I think we can have a good discussion during Q&A. So first slide, please. Oh, this is this, as I told you, the hottest topic, Geo 111, frankly speaking, a lot of speculation as to how Geo 111 is going to sort of impact the various stakeholders. No one is sure. Everyone has their own way to look at Geo 111, and clarity is not there. Now let's understand what is this hottest topic of Geo 111. Now, Geo 111 was sort of introduced in 1996 by then government, state government, to protect the two biggest water sources, right, and Himayat Sagar and Osmana Sagar, and they made a law that within 10-kilometer radius there cannot be any concrete construction, just to protect the water bodies. At the same time, just to make sure that if any flood happens, it does not impact the way it impacted in 1900T. Now, while the government has come out saying that as of now, only 2% of the water, sort of source of water, comes from these reservoirs or these two water bodies, and as of now, this rule of 1996 is not needed, and it is right time to sort of scrap that or repeal that. And I think that they have announced that. The way I look at it is, and if you see in the Hyderabad map, and where is the most of the villages, 84 villages, and a staggering 1.34 lakh acres, you know, just to give a perspective how huge it is close to 75% of the GHMC's limit. And just to give a perspective, the entire high-tech city, wherever you see the office building in the entire financial district, entire Nanak Rungu, wherever you see office buildings, it is not more than 700 to 800 acres. And you are talking of 1.34 lakh acres. That is huge. So what is the way forward? The way I look at, right? And obviously, there will be, while the government has taken 18 months time to come out with a detailed plan as to how they are going to do the zoning, green zoning, and how they're going to protect the environment, how they're going to protect these two water bodies. But we'll have to see how the master planning happens. But the way I look at it is that it will be challenged in the NGT. I feel that the people who are concerned about this repealing will take it to NGT. As you know, the National Green Tribunal is a very powerful body, and I think NGT is also going to sort of look into this. And as you know, NGT can be challenged in the Supreme Court. So I feel that it's not going to happen overnight the way you think, just because the government has announced it, because there is a proper due legal course needs to be followed. It will take some time, right? And the way I look at it is, if you can go to the next slide, please. And the way I look at it is that if not the entire 84 villages, that is 1.34 lakh acres. Let us suppose, I'm just trying to be just for discussion stage. If finally there is a agreement between courts, NGT, the activists, and the government, and even if it's say, forget about 1.34 lakh acres, even if 30 to 40,000 acres, even 30,000 acres, it is still a huge amount of supply coming to the entire Hyderabad city, and mostly concentrated in the western quadrant and in and around western quadrant. Now, how it is going to impact the entire stakeholder, it will vary. It will depending on who is the concerned person. I don't have an answer overall how it is going. I'm going to tell you that how it is going to affect. Let us suppose someone who has a 111 geo land, the land valuation is less because obviously you cannot do construction, and people do some farmhouse and stuff like that. So let's suppose on those villages, and again it will be speculative. Now, out of 84 villages, let us suppose after 2 years, 30 villages are going to be out of that 111 geo. The land valuation will go up because that is out of 111 geo, right? So for those landlords, it's a big plus point, right? But what about the speculative trading which happens from now till the final act comes out and the final judgment comes out, whenever it is 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years. Now the speculative trading will be a little risky. Just think, if someone buys, and I'm just giving example, if the land is, let's suppose, 2 crore to 8 crore, and someone buys it and thinking that this village or this survey number or this mandal or this thing will get repealed? What if finally that village does not get out of 1110? What happens to the speculative trader? So it all depends. So first, people who have the 1110 land, from now till the final order, they can there will be 2 or 3 sort of upward movements. It will be purely a speculative movement upwards, right? And finally, when the announcement comes, it will depend on which villages are there or not. That is one way to look at it. But my worry is what happens to those land parcel which were auctioned or traded at a very, very exorbitant price in last 2 years. If you see last 2 years, Hyderabad has become crazy, right? And we have never seen this anywhere in India in last 2 to 3 years, the way the prices went up by 2 times, 3 times. Whether you can justify in a pure quantity way, answer is no, right? But so what happens to those land parcels which are very close to this 1110? So I'm just giving example. Now, Kokapet, as you know, it went up to 50 crore, 60 crore, and we all were thinking, what happens? What happens to the land very close to Kokapet, the 1110? The 1110 land starts with 3 kilometers, nearest to 2 to 4 kilometers from Kokapet. Now, when you have land which is, let's suppose, gets cleared 2 to 3 kilometers, it obviously will be trading at, even after 1110, it will be trading at much lesser prices than 50 to 60 crore per acre. So what happens to those people who have bought lands in Kokapet, or let's suppose, why the land prices in Sankapalli and far went up? Because people had to go that far off, right? Because there was no land available, because most of the land before that was 1110. Now, the very fact people went so high and paid very high prices in last 2-3 years because there was no land before that. Now, human psychology, if from financial district, there is a land availability in 5 to 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers, which was 1110, but now it's not 1110. What is the need of going to as far as Sankapalli? So the people who have invested in and around Sankapalli, I'm just giving examples. Sankapalli, as there are a lot many places where land went up by 2 times, 3 times in last. Those people are going to really get impacted, right? So what, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that there will be people who will be happy, the people will lose money, and they will not be happy, depending on where they have traded the lands and where they hold the lands and what time they have entered the trading cycle and what time they're exiting the cycle, right? So if someone asks me, the first question I'll ask him, where do you hold the land and have you traded the land in last 2-3 years? So this is how I'm going to answer, right? Now let's go by perspective of the so-called concept of luxury flats. You know, in last 3 years, I have never seen. Last 3 years, the concept of my take is that 8,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet, there is at least 20 projects coming in and around the Western quadrant, where each flat costs around 8 crores to 20 crores. And I feel they will get impacted big time. And the reason why I'm trying to say is that when there is a provided the entire 1110 happens in 2 years, but if it takes 4-5 years, obviously they don't have to worry. Why, if so much of land is coming, and if you are getting an individual houses within 5-7 kilometers of the financial district, and you're getting a 500 square yard land, 700 square yard land, and a 5,000-7,000 square feet built up at a lesser price or a same price, individualized, why do people have to go for buying that luxury, ultra luxury flat? So that one asset class, I feel, will be it will get hit depending on when the decision comes, right, from perspective, right? And I think another thing to worry about for people who have bought land in last 2-3 years at high prices. As you know, the High Court of Telangana has given a rule by which close to 1,800 to 2,000 acres of land in and around Vatinangpally, they are saying that this was wrongly put in 1110. It should never been in 1110. So much, even now, whether 1110 takes time, whenever it comes, we already have 2,000 acres of land out of 1110 because High Court has passed a judgment. Again, 2,000 acres of land just between, I'll say, 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers from the financial district is a huge oversupply, right? So it will going to impact the land prices. In a way, it is good, because the land prices way it had gone in last 2 to 3 years was something not sustainable, and something I feel is not good for a city, right? And it's not good for the end customer, not good for the investors, because it is all speculative led increase in land prices. So that is my way of looking into what Geo 111 is going to. So a lot of flux, a lot of confusion, and people are now waiting and watch what will happen. What will the NGT say? What is the courts are going to say? And finally, how many villages are going to come out of this 111? We have to wait and watch, right? Until that time, I think a lot of speculations are happening. And believe me, there has been a slowdown on in the land transactions since this 111 Geo the issue has, or the decision has come. So next slide, please. As you know, Hyderabad is the only city in India where there is no FSI regulation. So people who are not from real estate, and if they don't understand FSI, it is also called as FAR, is how much square feet. Let's suppose 1 acre of land is 43,000 square feet change, 43,000, close to 44,000 square feet. On a 44,000 square feet land, how much you can build? Typically, the national average is anywhere between 2.5, anywhere between 2.5. Bangalore is 3.3. So what it means is that in Bangalore, max they can do 140,000 square feet. If I do a rough calculation, right? But in Hyderabad, there is no FSI. People have done as high as even 9 or 10 FSI, which is mind blowing. And when developers and investors come from different cities, they literally fall from their chair, knowing that the Hyderabad people are building 9 or 10 FSI, which is unheard of, right? So if the FSI cap happens, there is a lot of news that FSI cap will happen, but there is also a talk that while they will not cap how much you can build, but beyond certain height, they will ask the developer to pay additional money, which means the cost of construction or cost of project will go up. In a way, it will be a deterrent, right? So what happens is that, again, we don't know, it might happen in 3 months or 1 year. We really don't know when the government is going to come out, right? So whether the FSI restriction will be done on a location basis, government can say, okay, wherever there is dense construction happening, like high-tech city or financial district or Kokapet, we will restrict the FSI to 3-4. And wherever in the city outskirts, the FSI can be more. It also depends on, obviously, the density of population, the width of the road, the social infrastructure, the overall drainage system, and also what is the future, supply coming. They can look at that way to define FSI instead of just saying that across Hyderabad, the FSI can be only 4 or 5. We have to see what is the parameter they are going to talk about the FSI, right? But Hyderabad, and I think if you ask me, it is high time that we restrict the FSI. The FSI, no FSI rule came in 2007 because any city is not geared up. Any city is not geared up with the infrastructure, roads and the drainage system, the electricity for the unlimited FSI. I think we need to regulate the FSI. It is good for the long-term sustenance of the city. It's good for the environment. It's good for sustainable living. Absolutely, the unlimited FSI, we cannot have a sustainable future, and we cannot give a great future to our kids and all. So next slide. Sorry. As I told you, what will the impact will be? One of the reasons why the land prices also have gone up is also because it's an unlimited FSI. Because at the end of the day, landlord says that you can build 9 times or 10 times FSI, so I need this much built up as my share of land, right? Or if you have to buy a land, I want this much because they say. So obviously, this is also going to, in a way, regulate the land prices or calm down the land prices, right? And I'm quite open about it. The way the land prices had went up across Hyderabad 2 to 3 times in the last 2 to 3 years is unsustainable. It is not good for the growth of the city, right? But different people might look at a different lens, because there is a school of thought that if the land prices is going up, it talks about the development and the maturity of the city. And I really don't agree. As long as the growth and the price rise of the land is sort of in a justifiable way, that is fine. But other than beyond that, it is you cannot justify that. So FSI is also going to bring down the land cost, and if you limit the FSI, the prices might go up in few of the location. In location where the land is a scarcity, the prices will go up. And the places where land is not scarcity, it might a little bit calm down the rates. But we are going to discuss the residential price anyway, the demand and supply in the next slide. Next slide. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah. So we talk about commercial office space, as you know, since this government, TRS government has come to power in 2014. I think the for commercial office space, I think COVID was a showstopper. But if COVID would have not been there, I think we would have reached a different level, and I would have not been surprised that if we would have beaten Bangalore also. Bangalore, year in year, in spite of bad infrastructure, in spite of not very stable government, as you know, multiple CMs have been changed in the last 10 years. Because of the talent pool, Bangalore is still number one, and they have an annual absorption of 13 to 14 million square feet, and Hyderabad is now second, from being fourth 7 years back. Now it is second to Bangalore, and the best absorption we saw somewhere in 2019, where we touched 10.5 million square feet of annual absorption, right? And the way I look at is that we are going to be the second best as far as the annual absorption is concerned for a couple of years, and if everything goes well, we might beat Bangalore also, right? But all credit to the present government, the confidence they've given all the big ITS company to set up the base in Hyderabad, right? And if you see what has really changed in the global office space scenario in last 2 years post-COVID, is the demand and absorption of the flex office space, what we call the managed office space or co-working, has really gone up. And from a 4% level now I think at an India level now, close to 11% of the absorption or commercial absorption in the flex office space, the WeWorks, the SmartWorks, the iSprouts, and you name, there are many very successful brands. I think even the Fortune 500 companies have started showing their confidence on being taking a short-term 2 to 3 years lock-in in flex office space, in co-working or a managed office space. I think that is the one new thing or one thing which has changed since COVID has come, right? And in terms of supply, what is really worrying about the Hyderabad is the huge supply. The amount of supply which we see in next 5 to 7 years is more than 100 million square feet, which is crazy. So what happens is that I feel because of COVID, the demand has come down, but obviously we are slowly coming up the curve, and we are doing decent leasing. But the oversupply is going to really be dampener to a lot of investors who have invested in the commercial real estate, and all the commercial real estate developers in Hyderabad. They're going to fill the pinch. If the obviously, if you can see 100 million square feet coming up in next 5 to 7 years, whereas let's suppose demand is 8 to 10 million, average is 9 million. So we are talking of a 10-year supply right sitting now, right? So we are talking of a 10-year supply coming up right sitting now, and so you can understand what is the it is going to really impact the lease rental, because as you know, if the supply is so much and so it is demand is very robust. Demand is 8 to 10 million square feet. There is nothing wrong with the demand, the way things come up, and let's hope there is no fourth wave of COVID. But the issue is the huge oversupply. So obviously, the developers who don't have balance sheet strength to sort of stay afloat for 2-3 years, they are going to fill the pinch, because they would have calculated their return on investment or the cost of construction depending on certain IRR and certain rentals in mind, and they're going to have a deep impact. And whereas the national developers and the pan-India developers, with backed by the Blackstones of the world, backed by PE, backed by good institutional investors, they have the balance sheet strength to sort of stay afloat for 2-3 years till the time situation improves. But people who have sort of borrowed money at a high cost from NBFC, or have taken money from HNIs, or have done strata sale, they are going to have a tough time for next 2-3 years because of the oversupply. Next slide, please. And just see what I was talking about. And if you see the absorption is supply, just see 2022. 18 million is forecasted to come in 2022. And what is that? We are saying 8 million square feet is the absorption. 18 million square feet is the forecast of supply to hit 2022, whereas 8 million square feet is what we are saying is the absorption. What happens to the balance 10 million square feet? Now, this is what scares me, and this is what the developers need to be sort of little worried about, right? And this oversupply situation. The return of work, and we have started slowly seeing what we have seen in Hyderabad, close to 14 to 18% of people have started coming to work, but long way to go. And let me tell you, the hybrid model of work, that is people working from home as well as working from office, that is 3 days. Let's suppose, I'm just telling you, it can be 2 days and 5 days, 2 days plus 4 days. It can be 3 days in work from home and 3 days from work from office. It is there to stay. If someone says that no, things are going to completely change and 90% of the people are going to come back, it might not happen, because we are clearly seeing signs that a lot of tech companies globally have shown that flexibility to retain talent. And I have never seen in my 23 years of work-life career, I've never seen such a talent war. And people and companies, it's an employee market, not an employer's market. And they cannot take a strict order. No, you have to come back to office, and you cannot work from home, and they cannot take a call because of the talent war. So the hybrid working model is there to stay. Next slide. And I think if you see from 2014, when this government came to power, from 2014, and so-called people's interest in investing in office space as an asset class, right? From a small investor who wants to park 20 lakhs to 50 lakhs rupees to big investors. From 2015 till 2020 January, just before COVID, everyone wanted to develop an IT park and commercial office space. Everyone wanted to invest in those commercial space. The moment COVID happened, demand went down, the supply, there were vacancy, people shifted. People shifted immediately to residential. But let me tell you, see I think we need to unmute Kashi or someone. Yeah. So see the inventory, same problem. The amount of supply in residential which is coming, and as compared to the absorption, it is again scary. It was not at all the scenario till 2019 or 20. In the last 2 years or 2.5 years, the moment the demand for office space came down, everyone started sort of going towards residential, right? And if you see the amount of supply, and just you see the statistics in quarter one 2022, we are talking of in 2021, 36,367 units came to the supply, where absorption was 15,787. So there is also a huge amount of inventory or supplies coming to residential, and I think people have to be a little careful of the supply coming. What I think what we have seen, the huge price. I think Hyderabad is the only city in India where in last 2.5 years the residential prices have gone up, depending on the location, anywhere between 30% to 50%, which nowhere in India it happened, right? And so before COVID, high-tech city places we used to get in and around high-tech city at 7,000 rupees, right? And in financial district was 6,000 rupees. Now financial district is trading at anywhere between 9 to 10,000 rupees. Even Kokapet is trading, if you include everything plus is at 9,000 rupees, right? So the huge jump in the prices of residential has all happened in 2 years, right? And we could have sustained this rise in prices because there was a latent demand, right? But the problem is the huge inventory coming, the huge oversupply coming, right? And that is where it is going to check a price. After a couple of months, you will see that impact on the residential pricing, and unsold inventory is also slowly getting higher, right? And just to give an example, the amount of apartments which is coming, I'm just giving an example of the area in Kollur. Can you think of apartments 4 years back in Kollur? No, you could have thought max individual houses, mid-income individual houses. Now we are talking of huge amount of inventory of flats are coming in place like Kollur, right? So there is a huge supply, and unsold inventory is also high, and we have to see how things happen, and so it is in a way. So with so much of land coming, 1110 land coming whenever it comes. And with 2,000 acres of land being released by the High Court in and around financial district, it will be a little tough time for people who are making flats in far off places like Kollur and all, right? So you have to see how how the residential market in the outskirts is going to behave. Next slide. And just see the price rise, right? And you see the bottom. So from 2019 end, so if you see 9,000 rupees upper range went up to 15,000 rupees in Q1 2022, 9,000 to 15,000 in 2.5 years. In the lower range, 2019, 4,500 to 6,500. I was talking precisely the price, the way the residential prices went up in Hyderabad. We have not seen anywhere in India. There are two schools of thoughts. Look, the prices were very low, and the way things happened in the last 2 years, it is now comparable to other markets. I beg to differ, because every city has a different dynamics. But yes, what has really hit the developers in the last couple of months is the price rise in steel, cement, and other. Overall, within 6 months, the project cost has gone up by 15 to 18% just because the raw material cost has gone up. The steel, which was trading at 40 to 50,000 rupees, has gone up to 90,000 rupees, right? And there is some talk that it will come down to 60,000 rupees, right? So overnight, the residential prices went up in 2 to 3 months, 500 to 600 rupees cost. So people who are working at a margin of 800 rupees or 900 rupees per square feet as a margin, and all of a sudden overnight in 3 months, if the cost of asset goes up or the construction goes up by 600 rupees, it's a difficult thing to sustain. Yeah, next slide. While I think I want people to ask me more questions, so I'll just run it because we are already 36 minutes. I want more questions to come from the audience as well as from my friend, the moderator, Abhijit. So what we are focusing on the alternate real estate, as you know, in matured market, let's suppose in US and Europe, the student housing is a big thing. While student housing was really catching up, and bad luck that the COVID happened and people had to leave their respective cities where they were working to their hometowns. But I am a big believer of student housing. And I think once situation comes back to normal, even at a 70% occupancy, student housing will do very well. And I will say people who are exploring, they can explore student housing once things comes back to normal. Whether it is student housing, co-living, that comes under the one, more or less the same asset class. What India needs is senior living, or what we call aged care. And I think the right word is aged care, not senior living. That asset class, over the years, people have been struggling, not doing well. But I think there's a huge potential for professional company to enter into. The margins might be less, but this is the right thing. Healthcare, obviously, COVID has been a big boon for all the healthcare companies. Everyone going for an IPO, and most of the Hyderabad companies, the healthcare companies and hospitals have really done well. So that is I think everyone is expanding in India and on the healthcare, and I think that is one alternate asset class people can look at. Next slide. I think last time also I spoke about data center. Data center is one asset class which is really has caught the fancy of investors, but it's a very niche sector. And there is a lot of the capex cost is almost 2.5 to 3 times the normal real estate asset class in terms of cost of construction and all. And as you know, Hyderabad has Amazon and Microsoft and other people coming and investing in the data center. But I strongly believe that obviously there are at least 8 to 9 institutional company backed by foreign money and foreign funds have entered India. But I think long way to go. And the problem in Hyderabad is why data center and warehousing will not, as of now, the way situation is not do well because of the unlimited FSI and the land cost. Because of unlimited FSI, the landlord will say, why should I build data center where you have to go only ground plus 2, right? Where we can build ground plus 35 floors, unlimited FSI for residential, the land cost is 50 to 60 crore. I cannot do warehousing and all. So whereas next slide is for warehousing. Warehousing has done amazingly well across India. I think my appeal to the state government is that they should come out with a very robust warehousing policy, and warehousing in last 3 to 4 years has really done the best asset class is warehousing, but because of the high land rate in Hyderabad. So warehousing will not work if the land rate is more than 2 crore per acre, right? Because the rental is anywhere between 18 rupees to max 25 rupees. So anywhere the land cost is above 2 crores. So all the national players backed by funds, they're struggling to do a project in Hyderabad because of the land cost. They are doing amazing projects in Chennai, in Pune, Bangalore, but we are struggling because of the land rates. So that is one thing. I think the state government needs to come out with a policy, a robust policy to make sure that we have good warehousing facilities in Hyderabad. Next. Yeah, so funding trends. I think there is a new concept which has come up in last 3 years called fractional ownership, and I'll just explain you what it means, the fractional ownership. So what is to happen is that we have seen that way back in 2013 and 15, whether it is Kapil Chit funds in their building in Financial District or Purvankara in their building in High-Tech City, they sold a floor, small 2,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet to multiple people. And these people is to again do a sort of lease back to the entity, and entity is to lease it. Now, what has happened now is that this has taken a very institutional route. There are at least 10 companies backed by PE money. So what they do is, just to give you an example, so what happens if someone has 25 lakhs rupees and he wants to be part of a marquee building, office building, let's suppose a marquee Fortune 100 companies, he himself cannot own that asset. So what happens is, you give 25 or 50 lakhs to this company, institutional fractional ownership company, whether it is strata, whether it is property share and all. And so what they will do is, they will go and buy the entire floor, 100,000 square feet, 200,000 square feet. And let's suppose I'm just giving example at 1,000 rupees. So that 1,000 rupees, what they will do is that they will collect 1,020 rupees in bits and pieces, small, 25 lakhs, 50 lakhs from, let's suppose, 20 people, 30 people, HNIs, even small retail investors, and they will give the money to the seller. And then they do a fund management charges. So they have money. So this way of a very professional institutional ownership, fractional ownership, is the flavor of the season. That is at least 10 companies, and few of them have been backed by marquee funds like Sequoia Capital. So that is something the viewers here can look into if they want to be part of a very grade A building with Fortune 1000 company and they want to own. They can own part of that floor. Obviously, you will not have a dedicated sort of a physical space, but you will very much fractional ownership of that floor. Next slide. And if you see, I just want you to focus on the top part of the slide. How when institutional equity funds, their preference has been pre-leased office, whereas family office, HN, I'm talking of pure on Hyderabad side of it, residential and land bank, right? And third, NBFCs are on, again, residential, pre-leased and warehousing, right? So depending on what is the color of the money and where the money is coming from, the preference is different, right? And high network individual, as I told you, post-COVID, they stopped funding the commercial office space and shifted to residential, right? So this is how sector-wise demand, depending on whether it's an institutional fund, family fund, or an NBFC thing. And warehousing is something in one asset class where Hyderabad has miserably failed as compared to other cities is warehousing. I think that's something we need to focus. Next slide. Emerging location investment depending on which asset class. And I always say that depending on asset class, you have to take a call. It cannot be a blanket decision. So for example, Chupran is one location which is 10-15 kilometers from Metchal, is upcoming area. For people who don't know, Chupran is the area where your Haldi golf resort is there. And obviously Janwada and Chevella because of the 111 Geo announcement, New Pharmacity and Sangareddy. But all it depends on whether you want to invest in a manufacturing industrial cluster, where you want to invest in a residential area. It does depend. But our pick is, these are the location where you can do an investment. Next. I'm sorry, I'm going fast because I want, yes. So I'm sorry, I think I took almost 15 minutes more than what I should have. But over to Abhijit, and I will request the audience if they have any question to ask me. Over to you, Abhijit. So you're in mute, Abhijit.
Thank you, Sandip. That was very informative. Your presentation was so comprehensive, leaves me very little things to ask. But I mostly agree with you on the impact of Geo 111 because I see there would be a lot of legal impediments as well as requirement of large-scale zoning, master planning, and infrastructure build-up in that area. It seems like more of a 20-year play. So this is not something that is immediately going to change the dynamics in that area. In terms of commercial spaces, Hyderabad, the commercial office space absorption has clearly been the driver of real estate in Hyderabad, with the thumb rule of being 1:6. 1 square feet of commercial office space absorption results in 6 square feet of residential absorption. So in that context, as you have seen 8 million square feet being absorbed in Hyderabad in 2021-22. Do you see the real estate in the residential sector, the number of units that is being absorbed would jump substantially?
Yeah, I think we are clearly seeing that, right? We are clearly seeing that. I think we have started seeing close to 30 to 40,000 units getting sold in a year, which is as part of the most of the other mature residential market like Bangalore and stuff like that. If you see before 2014, the best years would have been 18,000 to 20,000 units per annum. But now I think we are seeing anywhere between 30 to 40,000. It's clearly showing that sort of trend because of the huge commercial demand and occupiers showing faith on Hyderabad. The residential demand has gone up in last 2 to 3 years. But my worry is that the supply in residential is far outstrips the demand, right? So again, I'm telling you, the office demand and Hyderabad will see anywhere between 8 to 10 million, which is just wow, second highest after Bangalore. Residential, 30 to 40,000 units, again, one of the best performing city. It's not about demand. It is about how do you sort of handle the situation when you have a 40,000 units demand in a year, but the supply is coming to 80,000 or 90,000, right? And demand, as you said, in 2022, we'll do 8 to 9 million square feet of office, but close to 22 million square feet of office space is going to come. That is the concern, not the demand.
True. So Hyderabad, what I believe in the last quarter, we did first quarter of 2022, we did almost 13,000 units, which is like couple of years back, we were like 14,000 units
Yes.
for full year. So this year we might as well hit what Bangalore and Bombay is doing, between 37 to 40,000. So Hyderabad is really coming up as a challenger city to this well-established cities. But one trend what I have seen is people who come in from the other cities kind of mention to us that we don't have too much respect for space, because cities like Chennai have many affordable projects, whereas in Hyderabad the homes are much more spacious, and of late there has been a lot of product-centric luxury launches, and also many of them have been taken. So are we creating a new niche for ourselves in terms of high luxury moving in high numbers?
That is my biggest worry. I think what happened in Lower Parel between 2015 to 19, the oversupply of this so-called high-end luxury, right? Now, there are many developments happening between a 5 to 7 kilometer radius in Kokapet, Narsingi, Kopalguda, Nanakramguda, and areas in and around that. One floor, one flat, 7,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet. Even at a 12,000 rupees per square feet, we are talking of minimum price is 9 crore and it goes up to 16 crores, right? Now, see what happens is when someone starts it, it's a herd mentality. Someone starts it, it does well. But seeing that 10 other projects will come. Without doing a proper market research, what is the demand? Can that 10 projects, let's suppose I'm just give an example, if the market potential in that monthly, if only 3 or 4 flats I'm talking of 8 crore to 15 crore will sell. But if the supply is coming to 30 flats per month, what will happen? The same thing what has happened in Lower Parel of luxury. So frankly speaking, this asset class is going to see the pinch. It's going to feel the pinch and all. So what happens, I'll tell you, I was talking to a fund about luxury. They defined luxury because of Mumbai standards and other standards. They defined luxury is 3,000 square feet. 3,000 square feet to 4,000 square feet or 4,500 square. I said, no, that is not luxury. Hyderabad is a new definition. This is called semi-luxury. Luxury is 8,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet of flat, which no other city talks of. So that is little scary. And as I told you, and I think real estate as such, the herd mentality is there everywhere in India, but I think more in Hyderabad, if I can talk a lighter note. First, everyone went behind commercial office space between 2014 to 20 January. And then the moment COVID came, everyone started rushing to our residential. And then the new flavor came about ultra luxury flats of 8,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet, right? And I'm little, what I'm surprised about is that, and if you see the people who make this, the new asset class of product, I have a serious doubt whether they do a serious research on the demand supply, right? Whether they hire agencies to say that whether if this many amount of inventory is coming, whether this can sustain or not, right? So when what happens is when very, very established developer with very good track record does not do a research, we cannot blame the small and medium time developers, right? So I seriously doubt whether a right thought process is gone when the planning has happened on this asset class.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. On the commercial side, though the supply is very huge, of late, say in the last couple of months, we have seen some green shoots in terms of, say, Google signing up almost 3 million square feet with Salarpuria, or a embassy SaaS deal happening of almost 14 million square feet. Cognizant also has come in with almost 1.6 million square feet. So this is a clear indicator that the large MNCs are moving towards a more evolved hybrid model. But one metric from this is Google signed up at 76 rupees with Salarpuria. This is a number that we have never seen before in Hyderabad. I mean, in high-tech city, the numbers were like 69 rupees pre-COVID, and which went down to 57, 58. We are at 76 rupees. This is perhaps the first time in Hyderabad we are seeing this kind of rates. So is this a beginning of a trend of rising yields like Bangalore? And would there be a asset price rise in the commercial space in the core CBD areas?
I think the way I look at it is that I have a very simple question to everyone. Does one asset of RMZ and one asset of Salarpuria, will they define the entire real estate market? Answer is no. While these two products are a AAA rated product, they are the best. Why is that in this radius of 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometer, the other commercial assets are not even getting 65 rupees or 60 rupees? So the problem, what happens is that we always define a micro markets doing well, not doing well with the performance of the top two assets. No, that should not be. So at the end of the day, as I told you, people who are backed by funds like Blackstone, the way Salarpuria is, or RMZ is backed by Japanese fund as well as the Middle East fund. What I'm trying to say is that, what about the local developers who are making 1 million square feet, 3 million square feet? Are the space getting leased? Answer is they're struggling. So my humble sort of submission is that the performance of the top two developers in a micro market does not talk about the sentiment, right? And what happens to the balance 95% of the development? So that is my talk. 76 rupees, Google taking in Salarpuria, great story. But from a stakeholders where there are small to medium enterprise, I don't want to name their local residential developers, 1 million square feet, 2 million square feet, they're struggling. So what I'm trying to say is that when we talk about a micro market or a market performing well, let's not just talk about 1 or 2 big deals or 1 or 2 big transaction in 1 or 2 IT parks. It has to be a very holistic way of looking into the absorption and the rentals.
Sure. On the unlimited FSI part, which is probably initially was seen as a big boon for Hyderabad, and now perhaps it is considered a bane. The real estate segment has really seen a lot in terms of GST, RERA, and now the unlimited FSI, which has led to soaring land prices, and that has thereby led to the skyscrapers. But in the last 6 months, because of the supply constraints, the input cost, not even 6 months, perhaps in the last 2-3 months, because of the supply constraints, the input cost has drastically jumped. There are, the last I mapped was there are like at least 9 projects which are G+45. Some of them, again, land has been pooled through the UDS and other routes. Now, they have modeled financial closure at a certain price point. Now, the cost has increased at least by 20% in the last 3 months. Do you see the cost rise as something transient, or is it here to stay? Because that is going to bring a serious financial stress into a lot of this under construction skyscrapers.
Let me tell you, the developer community is going through tough times. There is no second thoughts about it, right? And because when you say overnight, in 3 months' time, the project cost goes up by 18 to 20%, and we talk of margin of 18 to 20%, your margin is gone. And frankly speaking, so-called skyscrapers and another there were 2 fads we started in last 2 years, or the flavor of the season, if I can tell it in lighter note. One was, obviously, I told you, 7,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet, one flat. and overbuild, oversupply now in that sense. Second one is this, I can say that competition, who is building 45 floors, 50 floors. And I can assure you that most of the developers really don't know what is the exact cost of construction going so high. The cost goes dramatically up even before the price hike happened of the steel and everything, right? So, and again, I'm just giving an example. What had happened in Hyderabad is that there are a lot of developers who have sold even before RERA or even after RERA, whatever. They said that we need the initial to start the construction, whatever maybe the initial shell and all. They have sold it, let's suppose, at 4,000, 4,500 rupees, and they've sold 20% of inventory. Overnight, the prices went up by 600 rupees, the cost of construction went up by 600, 800 rupees, right? So how will they justify the cost of this 20% of the stock which they have sold it at 4,500, 4,000 rupees? For them, the overnight, it is a loss for them. So it is a vicious cycle which a lot many developers has got into, and it is really, really tough what we are looking into. And until unless people have really been done the financial closure well, and people who have not done the financial closure well, they're into big soup for the overall thing. One is the huge oversupply, the input cost going up in the last 3-4 months, and there is an uncertainty of huge oversupply coming in the land through the 111 GO and the High Court putting 1,800 acres of land coming back to the supply. So obviously, the developers have to be very, very cautious on what they do now.
So given that most of our construction is focused, almost 85% is focused on the western side of the city, government has started this LEAP policy, that is the Look East policy, with an intent to get developers and corporates to look more on the eastern side of the city. Because of that, of late, there has been certain launches and price rises in places like Hapsiguda, Uppal, Pocharam. But do you think this policy is actually helping that area come up and helping the western side cool off a bit?
It's a very good initiative by the government. I think it's a very good initiative because the western quadrant was getting crowded and all. These few companies have shown interest to go to the Uppal area and stuff like that, but long way to go. It's very, very, I think, tip of the iceberg, if I have to say, as far as demand of the IT companies or interest in the IT companies in those locations. But surprisingly, the residential quality graded development has started happening in the last 3-4 years in this location, right? Places like Uppal and places like LB Nagar, places like the places where we had never seen grade A developers going and doing residential development. And that is a good story, right? Because at the end of the day, that micro mark getting the right quality of grade A residential is a good thing. But as far as demand and corporate occupiers interest is there, it's long way to go. It's just a tip of the iceberg in terms of the interest.
So in terms of the new asset classes, which you mentioned, warehousing clearly does not work when the land price goes beyond 1.5 or 2 crores. So preferred areas like Medchal, which have good geographical access and infrastructural benefits, are still not reaping the benefits of warehousing. But data centers are still coming in. And in that sense, I believe government is also one of the big landlords and competitor to the developers in Hyderabad. Is that statement right?
Yes, very much. So let me spend a little bit on warehousing. People who have historical lands, if you see most of the people who have been into warehousing from last 20-30 years, there are a couple of warehousing development where now they're the second generation warehouse developers in Medchal, Kompally. And they know if they consider the pure land cost as the project cost, they will not make money. So they don't consider the present land cost as it's a historical land. They say, boss, we have got this historically, so we are not cut. So if you consider now, let's suppose in Medchal Kompally belt, if the land prices have gone up, people are talking of 30,000 rupees square yard, people are talking of 50,000 rupees square yard. How do you justify? So those lands where warehousing are still happening in and around Medchal and stuff like that, it's because the developer is aware that he cannot consider the land cost as the project cost, right? And he's only considering the cost of construction as the project cost, right? So as I told you, anything more than 2 crore per acre, the warehousing doesn't make sense. As far as data center is concerned, this is a very proactive government. So government gives whether the land to Amazon and Google, but Microsoft did it privately. But yes, the government is so active. What if you remember long back, Chandrababu Naidu did by giving land at subsidized rate to the corporate occupiers in financial district. Similarly, this government is giving, but this government is not giving at a throwaway price, right? And they are giving at a decent price, and so that micro market real estate also flourishes and all. But you are right, the private players, if they want to do data center, they will have a challenge from the government's supply of land.
So I have some questions coming in from the audience. One is, what is the actual stock in residential space in Hyderabad in terms of SFT that is coming up?
So it is difficult. I'll tell you why I'm not able to answer this question. We as JLL, we generally track the grade A development, right? And typically like Upper Nas of the world and grade A development, right? Or Rajpushpas and all. But 80% of the absorption, even more, happens in ground plus 5, right? And most of them are small time developers. So it's very difficult for us to track that question, that answer. We can only make some guesstimates as to the way we can really say how much supply is coming in office space, because it's very trackable. The best, and I always say that while we can make some presumption, and I don't have any sort of qualms by saying that the bank data are the best data to say what is the supply demand, because at the end of the day, if you take the data of the top 20 banks, how much loan they have dispersed, and you do a backward calculation, you really get to know how the industry is performing and what is the supply. So as we don't track the ground plus 5 residential development, it becomes very difficult for me to answer that query. But whatever I know of, I think it is. If you see the statistics, if the demand is 30,000 unit per year, the supply for that year is 70 to 80,000 units. So the huge overbuild.
So another question we have from the audience is, with G plus 45 and 50 square feet floors coming in, do you think the local developers have the wherewithal to even execute it? Though I know we are using MyVan and other technology, but apart from the technology, it's something restricted to the top few. But overall, do you think we can?
I agree with the audience who has asked this question. I think other than the top 5-10 developers of Hyderabad, other will struggle because they don't have the wherewithal to do that. They really don't know what is the really cost of construction going up, to what is the cost needed to make 45 to 50 floors, and they do. So it's tough. It's tough, and only and people who don't have an experience or really have not done their homework well are really going to sort of see the impact of going ahead and doing this project. The answer is yes. Most of the developers really don't know what it takes to make 45 to 50 floors of the construction.
So another question we have is, real estate is all about 3 things: location, location, location. If somebody has to put their money, which location should it be, and which asset should it be? On
a lighter note, it also depends on the cycle you are, right? Just think, you thought till the 111 Geo land came, you thought that Shankarpalli is location, location, location. After 111 Geo come, that 3 location is no longer a location. So it's all it's also depends on the cycle. Government decision in India, real estate is not that easy. It is really a complex connection with many external factors which we don't have control on. But in terms of the location, if someone has to ask me, it depends on the asset class. If it is residential flats, and I will still say that the upcoming area is Patenchuru and all. Prices are reasonable, land rates are reasonable, and that is upcoming area for residential flats. When I'm talking of inventory, which is let's say 50 lakhs to 80 lakhs of inventory, that is one good location which is really performing well, right? Now, as far as warehousing, I told you, as a city we have failed miserably, and I think as far as office space, huge oversupply, right? So stay away from office space perspective. Yeah.
So I think Vamshi has opened the floor for people to ask questions by raising their hand. Sunilji?
Yeah. What do I ask? What are the businessmen from unrelated businesses entered this field? So what is the advice as to go back to original businesses next few years?
It's like, it's a tough question, but yes, I have, I'll give an example. Why is that? Do you know one very interesting statistics? All those non-real estate corporates who have entered real estate in last 10 years, I'm talking of infra companies, I'm talking of telecom companies, I'm talking of so-called blue-blooded corporate houses. The mortality rate is 99%.
Oh.
I can only say that companies like Godrej have succeeded, right? And one or two examples of Godrej. But mortality rate is 99%. It looks very simple, right? And what generally, if you see Hyderabad based when the infra companies entered, so in Excel sheet, everything looks, I think easy. So what does typically one say? Okay, we buy land at this, we hire L&T, Sapuji, Palanji, CCCL to contract to do the construction, and we'll hire the brokers to sell it. If the life would have been so easy, I think we all would have become billionaires. But the problem is that I have a very simple question. Why is that the huge infra company who have done complicated irrigation projects, highways, telecom towers, why they did not succeed in real estate? Because at the end of the day, in India, 90% of the real estate is B2C, and you need to understand the consumer. You need to understand what consumer wants, and knowledge is not easy, right? So for a lot of people who are not from real estate, right, when they come and become a developer, I will say that please do your homework well. Grass looks greener from the other side, and residential is full of challenges. And I can tell you that the mortality rate of non-real estate corporate houses who have entered real estate is 99%. And yes, you can be a passive investor with developers whom you trust, but trying to become a full-time real estate developer, I think is a risk until unless you have matured partners. I always say that if someone is entering real estate from a non-real estate, want to be a developer, it's better to have a developer partner than going solo.
Thank you.
Just to add to you, Sandip, I think the Godrej family has done well, but they're also splitting because of real estate.
Yeah, they're the market cap and share value, right?
Raj, Surendra Raju Garu.
Yeah, good morning, good evening. So what are the credentials of Sumadura Vasavi?
Oh, I'll not be able to tell it in an open forum like this, right? A little sensitive. So you meet me one-on-one, I'll tell you, right? So I work in JLL for a living, so I don't want my. Yeah. So
they are coming up with very 44 floors near to the financial district.
Yeah, I'll give you a pass. And my number with Ty, you can give me a call and I'll give you my feedback. But openly, it will become challenging in talking a public platform like this.
Okay. Please forward your number, please.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Raj, please come.
You always amaze people, Sandip, so I don't have to say anything about your presentation. But I was looking if you had any feedback on a lot of these plottings that are coming in and around. You mentioned Shankarpalli now with Triple Geo and all. But a lot of areas these plottings have happened. How are they as an investment, or are they going to sustain?
As I told you, I know. So one of the reasons, one of the location which is we have to see, I feel it will really get impacted is Shankarpalli. And the reason why people went so far, because all the land before that were 111 Geo. So we have to really see when I feel that area is really going to get impacted big time on this 111 Geo land comes, right? But see how the evaluation happens in a location. A location is outskirts. First is plotting happens. Then it moves to warehousing. Then it moves to independent economical or value villas. Then it moves to economical flats, and then happens the flats for IT. So this is how every location. If you see Patencheru was again was industrial belt. Then it became warehousing. Now it is reached a stable, whereas low cost independent housing, not low cost value villas. And now developers like Ramki are doing value apartments at 60 lakhs rupees or whatever maybe, right? So Shankarpalli, there was a good potential from graduating from an plot to value villas to next wave of apartment. But I think this huge supply which is coming to the city through a 111 Geo, I think is going to impact. And what is going to be the fate of your question of the plots in those locations? I think if someone you would have seen in Shankarpalli, I don't want to name the developer. People have launched in 2017 or 16 at 6,000 rupees, now trading at 50,000 rupees. That I think gone are the days. Gone are the days. That 111 Geo announcement has killed that a lot of markets like this. So you will not see a phenomenal growth, or you might see a typical 8 to 10% growth year on year. But that what you saw, a 20%, 20% growth on the plotting market, I don't think it is going to happen again.
No, asking other places around Hyderabad. Shankarpalli, we know.
Yeah.
The other places.
So, yeah. So as I told you, now a lot of activities happening in and around Gadkeswar, and that is one location you can go to that belt, and also location towards Sadasipet and further down Sadasipet. Lot of plotting is happening. So two location in the belt in and around Sadasipet, and also towards Gadkeswar is one where plotting market is not that heated up. It's still reasonable, and as compared to the other plotting markets.
Sunilji.
Yeah. Patnaik, this is on a lighter note. We heard a lot of Hyderabad guys are investing in US market in real estate. What is the take on in Dallas, in Austin, and they're making some groups and then started pulling the money from Hyderabad guys, and they're pulling and investing in the lands outside Dallas and outside Austin and all this stuff. Please.
You're 100% right. It is a fact. So we laugh about it that now the Telugu community innovativeness of land transaction and land business, they're going to teach the white skin there. So it is happening big time. And I think see, land is a price commodity in India. So if you see in US, once you go to the outskirts, the land valuations is very, very less. Very, very less. Unlike in India, where land valuation is so much, whether it has to do with $1.3 billion, 1.3 billion people, or many factors, right? But yes, you are 100% right. The Telugu innovative businessmen and real estate developers are all doing that, pulling money and doing plotting and trying to do plotting ventures, and they're successful also. But it also depends on what is the volume and the scale and how on, because we have slowly started seeing sort of scary reports from the US market that there are some research analysts are saying that there can be another housing bubble after 2008-9. First time there was an unprecedented housing growth after the Lehman crisis or the housing bubble, and after 12 years we are seeing some sort of housing bubble, and there are a lot of worrying factors. The unemployment rate is one of the highest now in US. A lot of indicators that the economy in US is slowing down. So we have to see if our brothers from the Telugu community who are investing there, are they in the right cycle or the wrong cycle? If they are going to go into the wrong cycle, all of a sudden economic tanks in US, then they're going to have tough time.
Thank you.
There's one question from Suren. He's asking, what is the future of apartment sales?
It's like any other very simple common sense, supply and demand. Right, and is any industry, anything, right? And it's all about supply demand. Let's suppose television. Let's suppose, I'm just giving an example. If Kachibowli needs every month 10,000 televisions, and in market you have 30,000 television, what happens to the pricing? What happens to the sales? Same thing. It is all about supply demand. And then I still tell you, the demand in office space, the demand in residential is still is very good, and it is unprecedented. when we are talking of, when Abhijit also told 30 to 40,000 units is unprecedented, never happened in Hyderabad. But if the supply is 70 to 80,000 rupees, 80,000 units, so obviously it is going to hit the pricing, hit the entire valuation, and slow sales, and the developers are going to suffer.
So I think we are almost, unless anybody has any more questions, we are almost overshot the time.
Yeah, anyone who wants to sort of ask very sensitive question, so you can meet me one-on-one, or you can call me anytime.
Yep.
And
Please forward your number.
Yeah. So I think I will request if all the fellow Thai members are here, that I will. It is there in the Thai group. My number is very much in the Thai group.
So irrespective of all the dynamics this market is seeing in the last 4-5 years and of late, I think Hyderabad still has the dual distinction of having ranked number 1 as the most dynamic city in the world among 130 cities globally, beating not just Bangalore, Mumbai, but also Shanghai, Dubai, and Silicon Valley by JLL's own city momentum index. Hyderabad has also ranked as the best city to live by Mercer Quality of Living Index. So this is a city which is not just a money-making machine, but also it's a place we all call home. And seeing a city where we have grown up, taking such quantum leaps in terms of growth and ease of living, and we getting to play an active role in making this happening, I think is very satisfying. So I believe Sandip, though you are from Bhubaneswar, Orissa, you identify yourself as a Hyderabadi. One thing that fascinates me about you is you're very active in terms of the land deals in Hyderabad, but you still haven't managed to pick up Telugu. So do you use a translator?
So I don't lighter note, I can tell you, with the relationship and the goodwill and the people trust me. If I would have known Telugu, I would have been an MLA and MP by now, right? So I think I still regret of lot learning Telugu. I think it would have made my life much easier as a real estate consultant if I would have learned Telugu. I think now I'm thinking of learning Telugu after spending 23 years in Hyderabad. But I just love this city, and I think as I've always told that I'm going to have my retirement in Hyderabad, Abhijit. So while I'm in Oriya, but this city is very close to me, close to my heart, and I'm going to stay here forever. But my now I'm thinking about learning Telugu from friends like you or Alifal. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we are almost at the end of the session. So Vamshi, would you like to take over from me?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. One of the trending and hottest topics currently right now in Hyderabad. And if you want me to be honest, this is one of the most streamed live video that is happening. We had a constant 50+ audience on our YouTube channel also. There are so many questions. Maybe we will circulate them back to Sandip sir and you. Maybe we can send them on email on how to take that questions. And thank you so much, both of you. Thank you, Sandip sir, and Abhijit, for putting it forward together and enlightening us about the future of the real estate in Hyderabad. And I don't think it wouldn't have been possible without your support, and also all our annual sponsors and our leadership at Thai Hyderabad. So thank you so much. With that,
thank you.
We can
thank you, Vamsi. Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, all the Thai members.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Vamsi.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
We can call it a day now, and we'll stop the call. And thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.